It really, I just was just amazed as I turned every page of this book, and I was just, thinking that this big fear of theirs, that there might be a populist uprising against the insurance companies, because I believe that if people listen to what you have said and what you're writing, that that eventually that will happen, because people will see them for the organized crime syndicate that they are. That's what they're set up to, not to help you with your health. They're set up to make a profit, and the only way they make a big profit is to deny as much health care as possible to the people trying to get help. That's the bottom line. It's a sick, rotten system, and for you to come forward like this is just, it's just really, I just can't say enough for what you've done.
Well, thank you, Michael. But I've been doing this for not even 18 months, and you and many other people have been advocating for good healthcare reform for much longer than I have. So I'm glad to finally be on what I think is the right side this time, and to do what I can to try to pull the curtains back so people can see exactly what these companies do to win.
Don't say this about the British healthcare system.
British healthcare system.
No. Fox News, it's on satellite now, so they're watching this, and they're laughing right now.
Restrictions on prescription osteoporosis.
The din of British laughter now is my ears are bleeding. They're laughing at you. I have a number of stories that I want to share with the audience. Some stories I've collected along the way in my 20 years as a filmmaker. So this movie is it's about all the things I've been thinking about and writing about and filming in these 20 years. It's about greed. It's about the lack of democracy that we have in this country, and the lack of power that it seems that the average people have, and yet they actually are supposed to have all the power. And so this is kind of a culmination of all of that. And I made this film, actually. I said to the crew the first day, I said, why don't we make this movie as if they are going to pull the plug on us after they see this thing? I mean, the studios, the distributors, the theaters, they're not going to give me another dime to make these movies after they see this one. Our goal with this film should be to put ourselves out of business. They'll be so frightened by this film. And it wasn't really till we were almost done making the film, just back in July, when I got a call from the Bill Moyers show, the producer of the show, saying you might want to turn the TV on in an hour. There's something you might like to see. And so I did, and on the Bill Moyers show was the former vice president of Cigna Health Insurance, Wendell Potter. And he was there to reveal for the first time that the health insurance industry got together, all these competing companies got together in a room and put together a secret plan to smear Michael Moore and the film Sicko. How to tell lies, essentially, about the film and about me. Identify those reporters and critics who will most likely repeat those lies. And have their lobbyists threaten any member of Congress, especially a Democratic member of Congress, anybody who would dare to support my movie or associate themselves with me. They were to be told that the health industry was going to give them a one-way ticket back home to their district You're going to be defeated.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Break down, baby.
On the Bill Moyer show was the former vice president of Cigna Health Insurance, Wendell Potter. And he was there to reveal for the first time that the health insurance industry got together, all these competing companies got together in a room and put together a secret plan to smear Michael Moore and the film Sicko. How to tell lies, essentially, about the film and about me. Identify those reporters and critics who will most likely repeat those lies, and have their lobbyists threaten any member of Congress, especially a Democratic member of Congress, anybody who would dare to support my movie or associate themselves with me. They were to be told that the health industry was going to give them a one-way ticket back home to their district. They're going to be defeated. Now, I'm sitting there watching this in my living room, and I'm thinking, it's just a movie. I mean, and the intricacy and the documents that he had showing all this, of how much effort they put into this, because they thought Sicko could be the tipping point where the public would just rise up and demand universal health care, single-payer health care. And as I was in the final 2 weeks of putting this film together, the capitalism film, it sort of buoyed my spirits that actually making movies can matter, and cinema can be dangerous. And if they're that worried about it, then maybe they'll really be worried about this film. And so there's the short answer to your question.
You know, which brings up two questions. One is, can you imagine the same sort of organization and zest behind a group that is working hard to take down Glenn Beck? I mean, from the flip side of it, it seems like there's a side that has the evil and the organization all in one pretty package, and then there's us.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't know people, liberal-minded people. I suppose if you look up the definition of liberal in the dictionary, it means to be open-minded, to have a liberal mind, to explore, to be open to things. And even with Glenn Beck, as much as people may detest what he does and what he says, and he certainly has said some pretty despicable things about me. On one of his shows, he talked about himself fantasizing about actually killing me, and asking himself, could he really do it? And then he decided he could do it. Fantasizing about actually killing me, and asking himself, could he really do it? And then he decided he could do it.
I'm thinking about killing Michael Moore, and I'm wondering if I could kill him myself or if I would need to hire somebody to do it.
There's no FCC fines for talk like that, nor is there for Bill O'Reilly, who on a show a few years ago said that he didn't really support the death penalty unless he would make an exception for Michael Moore. So, you know, most people I know don't talk like that. We don't like what they do. We disagree with their policies. We hate this war. But I don't hear a lot of people say that they actually hate this other individual who happens to disagree with us politically, or try to demonize them. Or worst of all, I guess, what the health industry tried to do to me and Sicko is just simply lie. And this whistleblower, Wendell Potter, he then talks about how he was sent to do the reconnaissance, to come to Michigan, to the town where I live. I was having a little premiere of the film for the people in the town, and he brought his 14-year-old son, And he was there to take notes and get all the stuff down. This is before the movie was going to open nationwide. And he said as he's sitting there, he essentially had his St. Paul moment. Because he sat there looking at Sicko and saying to himself, as the vice president of one of the biggest and worst health insurance companies in the country, everything I'm seeing is true. I know it to be true. I know the truth about the Canadian healthcare system and how much better it is. I know all of this is true. How can I keep lying? He said at the end of the movie, the lights came up, and everybody filed out of the theater, and I was out in the lobby, and his 14-year-old son saw me and broke away from him, from his dad, and ran over to me because he wanted to get his picture taken with me and get my autograph and shake my hand. And Wendell Potter says, and I stood there, and I looked at that. There's my own son. He's just watched for 2 hours what I do for a living, which is to essentially cause the deaths of at least 18,000 Americans a year, simply because they don't have health insurance. Or if they do have health insurance, everything Cigna and the other companies do to deny care, to kick people off the rolls, or to not even accept them because of a pre-existing condition. And he saw his son shaking my hand, and he just kind of had this moment of realization that he couldn't continue. He couldn't continue on. So I remain hopeful that people on the other side of the fence, whether they're over there because of their conservative or right-wing politics, or whether they're there because of their corporatist nature, that I believe all people are good at their core, and sometimes get a little misdirected or misguided or believe the propaganda, but all have the ability to turn around and do good. And I've believed that all of my life. You know, I've never uttered the words, I hate George W. Bush. I've never uttered those words. As much as I fought the guy, as much as I hated what he did, I never hated him as a person, and still don't to this day, because first of all, I don't want to be down on that level. I don't want to go into that gutter that Fox News and Rush Limbaugh exist in. You know, I just, if I felt myself going there, I'd want to pull myself up from it, because I don't want to live like that, and I don't want to live in a world like that, and I don't want to contribute to a world like that. So, so that's kind of my MO.
Thanks so much for that, Glenn. So much for that just a movie thing. Not just a movie.
Well, I guess so. But that's, hey, what great news for all artists. That art and culture, writing, poetry, playwriting, filmmaking, all of these things can contribute to raising people's consciousness, to informing them, to having them connect on a human level to the social condition. And I would encourage any of you who are any of those things to rise up and just really make use of this, what I hope to be an enlightened era.
That made it real to me. What did you think? It was absolutely stunning. It's like being hit by lightning. It's almost, what country am I in? It just seemed to be a possibility that I was in the United States. It was like a lightning bolt. That's part of the strategy.
So you would actually hear politicians mouth the talking points that had been circulated by the industry to discredit Michael Moore.
Absolutely.
You hear ordinary people talking that way, and politicians as well, right?
Absolutely. And so your plan worked. It worked beautifully.
The film was blunted, right?
The film was blunted.
Was it true? Did you think it contained a great truth?
Absolutely.
What was it?
That we shouldn't fear government involvement in our healthcare system, that there is an appropriate role for government, and it's been proven in the countries that were in that movie.
Do you know anything about Medicare?
Well, I'm not on it, no.
That's what I'm driving at.
These state Senate in Vermont has just voted overwhelmingly to pass what looks like a single-payer health care plan.
Absolutely. We really are, we believe will be the first state in the country that passes a health care system that really does a few things. First, treats health care as a right and not a privilege. Second, we want health care to follow the individual.